Today on the TMZ Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the TMZ Podcast. I'm Charlie Cotton and today I'm joined by Deven Rall. How are you, Deven?
I'm doing good. Good to see you, bro.
Good to see you across the desk, Deven. Today we're going to talk about your favorite guy, Post Malone.
My favorite. I love Post Malone.
I know you do.
Number one Post Malone fan in the world.
I bet you are. He bought a $2 million Magic the Gathering, you know that nerd card game? He bought a $2 million card, rarest card. We're going to talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about the Chinese bear who was accused of being a human.
Are we sure it's a bear?
Well, I think it's a bear. But to begin with, the top story, Lizzo. She's being sued by ex-dancers.
3 of them.
For sexual harassment and a hostile working environment. What can you tell me about this?
I mean, it's a crazy lawsuit because, Lizzo is one of the most beloved celebrities. I don't think there's really anyone who we've ever heard say a bad word about Lizzo ever.
Right.
So basically these 3 women came forward and basically they were, they're dancers for her tour. And essentially they make a ton of claims, workplace, violations, like including false imprisonment, sexual harassment, and basically just they list out all these things that they said that they were forced to do while working on her tour.
Okay, are any of the things sort of heinous, like false imprisonment sounds bad?
So it sounds really bad. I think that's lawyer talk, so that's above our pay grade. But essentially, I think the biggest headline that came out from this is they detail this Amsterdam trip that they had.
Mm-hmm.
So they were touring in Europe, and they were forced to go to sex shows at the red light district in Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, the more crazy accusations are that, they claim they didn't want to go to these shows. They were forced to go and interact with these sex workers, including eating bananas out of some of the sex workers.
Oh, okay.
So I've never been to Amsterdam. I feel like you are an Amsterdam guy.
Yeah, that sounds like, your average sort of Tuesday night in Amsterdam.
Bananas? You've been to these shows?
I've been to shows like this, yes. I went to these types of shows. More graphic were the ones I went to in Thailand. In Thailand, like I smoked a cigarette that had been somewhere that it shouldn't have been. She offered it to me.
You're a wild man.
Yeah,
you are a wild man.
She was actually, it's quite talented. She was smoking the cigarette with her vagina, like plumes of smoke coming in, and it's a talent. And then there was like darts going at balloons, like from the vagina to the balloon. Like, it's crazy what they can do. Like, oh, one more thing. I know this is like veering off track. You drink like some glass of water in the vagina and then it comes out Coke. Like, comes out a different color. Anyway.
I don't know if I don't want to hear any more about your
It's crazy,
your
man.
stories. Back to Lizzo. So these women are saying, the crazy thing about this though is that everyone that I've seen has been, attacking Lizzo. There haven't been too many people that are defending her, which is weird because, she's such a beloved celebrity. But, it's kind of one of those weird things that it's like, yes, they're on the job, but it's like at the same time, these girls, when you're going to the red light district, you know what you're getting into, no?
Right.
But their argument, though, is that they're saying that they felt like if they didn't do these things, that they would be fired.
Yeah, I can understand them feeling sort of coerced and pressured in that way. But if it wasn't sort of overtly forcing them to do it, like, you better get to the club. Like, if it was only just sort of like they felt like, okay, I'm on a group trip with my employer, I better do this so that, you know what I mean? Like, if it was all just in their heads, then like, how is there a case to answer for like, yes, you're in Amsterdam. Amsterdam's known for these sex shops. It's known for lots of things. I think you know what you're getting yourself into if you go out to one of these clubs. Of course, if they were like, you better come out, you better eat that you better eat that banana, like that's a whole nother thing. But if it's sort of like,
yeah, you kind of need to know the context, I guess, is what you're saying, right? Like,
right.
Like because they say there's other more boring claims, I guess you would say,
right.
About like the fact that, they were forced not to go to the bathroom. They felt like they were going to lose their job at any moment. They had to like on tour constantly audition for their roles. And, there's one other thing that was, and that they were told that they couldn't take any other jobs or like on any other tours, or else they wouldn't be rehired.
Doesn't that sound like every job?
Yeah, I mean, well, the red light district, I don't think that's every job. And
that's not every job, but sort of like, feeling a bit of pressure and feeling like you need to sort of continually compete for your job. That's what happens in, these
competitive jobs.
Yes, and jobs that other people want.
Yeah.
You have, and so I guess then because it's a competitive job, you feel a pressure to always do exactly what you think you should because you don't want to lose your job. But that's also just the nature of show business, I think.
Agree. I mean, I don't agree with like obviously the awful conditions that they're claiming that they had to endure while on tour. But my thought on the whole thing is it's like, how sexual Lizzo is. Don't you kind of know what you're getting into if you're going on a Lizzo tour?
Yes.
Like, I'm not saying that you should be put in situations at your workplace where you don't feel comfortable, but like, it's a Lizzo tour.
Exactly.
Like, and you're going to Amsterdam. And I get it. That sucks if they felt like if they didn't go to the sex show or they didn't do these things that they would be fired. But it's just like, I feel like that kind of like going into it, they should have known what they were getting into.
Yeah, I agree.
As far as that part of it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. Like, is there evidence? Is there sort of... Did Lizzo sort of break the law in any way? I don't...
She hasn't said anything at all, which is kind of interesting just because, like, I mean, she's getting trashed on social media.
Are people going against Lizzo?
Yes. And the crazy thing is that, like, it's like usually when they're big celebrities, there's a lawsuit filed. They don't say anything because they can't, because their lawyers tell them not to. But when it becomes this big of a deal, you usually have to post something on social and say, at least defend yourself a little bit, because, like, there was biggest celebrity in the world, Beyonce, last night performed the Break My Soul remix, and she actually dropped Lizzo's name from it.
So she used to invoke Lizzo as part of that routine, but on the heels of these allegations, Beyonce is sort of like, it's almost like she's picking a side.
Yeah, I mean, or at the very least, she's like, hey, I don't want to be involved in this controversy.
But she's involving herself in virtue, like...
Yeah, she's taking a stand by taking her name out.
Yes.
Yeah, no, totally, which is crazy because it's like, I mean, if Beyonce's turning on Lizzo, like, it's tough.
If the whole beehive goes against Lizzo, then she's screwed.
I mean, it's going to be tough for her to come back. It'll be interesting, though, to see once she defends herself. And, yeah, I mean... Just a crazy story because, like I said, it's like, dude, she's so beloved.
Right.
We've never heard anyone say anything about Lizzo.
Well, it's bad news for Lizzo. It's great news for, like, Amsterdam sex shops, though. Like, their name is in the news now. Now you're kind of interested. You want to go along.
It sounds like you want to be a Lizzo backup dancer.
right, yeah.
Well, if they're out of a job, there's openings.
Totally. I'll be there like, la, 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 la. I'll look like...
When are we going to the banana show?
Yeah. I'll be on stage looking like one of those blow-up car things.
Oh, the inflatable two-mans?
yeah, that's my dance move.
Yeah.
All right, on to our next story. Post Malone. He is a big nerd, it turns out. Like,
he's always been a pretty huge nerd.
Really?
Yeah. He he's got all the tattoos.
Yeah, that hides it.
He's a rock star, but he openly talks about how, like, he grew up, he was very nerdy. He's into, like, very, like, nerdy niche things, and, like, isn't a cool guy by what he says.
Totally, because this card game, Magic the Gathering, which is kind of more nerdy than, say, even a Pokemon card game.
That's like top nerd.
It's top nerd.
Yeah, I agree.
He's the top of the top nerds now because he bought the rarest Magic the Gathering playing card. It's this one ring. Like, if you saw this card, you'd be like, next. Like, it kind of looks like a Lord of the Rings poster. He bought this card for $2 million off this guy, and now he's like the rarest like holder of Magic. I don't know why you'd do this. It seems like a bizarre thing for him to do.
It's one of those things. So this guy who sold it to him was like basically, he went to his concert and met him, and they did the transaction, and he, talked about how just like he was so stoked on this card, but he knows how big of a fan of Magic the Gathering Post Malone is, and I'm sure the $2 million he gave him helped as well for him parting with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing though with these big celebrities. It's like you're into what you're into, and obviously Post Malone has a ton of money. He does buy some like cool cars, but like rappers buy cars, jewelries. He buys ultra rare Magic the Gathering cards. That's
Right.
just
I mean, it's
that's
like
just
Logan
his
Paul.
thing.
Logan Paul buys lots of Pokemon.
He's super into Pokemon, and but I think Logan Paul. I know he is into Pokemon, but I think he says it's more of like an investment thing. Like,
All right.
Like but with Post, I think he just collects these like weird nerdy things.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like against it. I got into NFTs for a while. Like, you're kind of just buying.
How did that go?
It hasn't gone great so far.
So far?
Yeah, I mean,
you're still holding out hope?
They're an investment.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
But like, I can understand. Humans have always collected things, you know, like even when we were cavemen, probably collecting rocks, you know, like
Totally.
this is my favorite rock. So it makes sense that like, if he's like holds a special place in his heart for these like Magic the Gathering, if he used to play it as a kid and now he's got the rarest one in the world, it makes you feel a certain way when you look at it.
Totally.
It's like a painting. Like, people buy art for $2 million and like that doesn't. I went to an art gallery and there was just a white painting. It was just white and it was cost millions and millions of dollars. Like, people buy stupid stuff all the time.
100%. And I mean, the guy's got all the money in the world. I think with Magic the Gathering, I think you can actually like play people. I've never played the game, unfortunately. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if he's going to use the card like when he plays, or I mean, if it's $2 million, I'd imagine you put that up. Like, do you put that in a vault? Do you put it up on your wall?
I think you put it on your mantelpiece.
Yeah.
You don't definitely don't
well,
play
Post
with it.
Malone did, or not Post Malone, Logan Paul, wasn't it like a rare Charizard that he spent all that money and he turned it into a chain?
That's a cool thing to do.
So that at least is like, you can wear it as jewelry and it's like a conversation piece.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate it. Good luck for him. He actually went on the Call Her Daddy podcast and talked about how brand new his life is right now, having had a kid, that, you know, no longer is he thinking as much about drinking and smoking. I mean, he's still doing it, but he's trying to tone that down. But he's not drinking soda. He's exercising a whole lot more. That, you know, being a dad is like giving him a whole new outlook on life.
Which is kind of crazy because he did like the opposite of a dad bod, if you think about it. Like, he had a kid and then got in shape.
Wow.
Because they're usually like, you know, once you get a dad, you just let yourself go. You're like, you know, I have a kid and I don't have anyone to impress. But yeah, I mean, he looks great. He seems super healthy. He just kind of talks about, I mean, he talks a lot in his music and stuff about, you know, his struggles with drinking and stuff. So I just have to imagine when you're taking care of an infant, I mean, you have experience with this. It's like, you can't wake up hungover. You don't have those late 4 a.m. nights anymore.
No, it's just not worth it.
Exactly. So, I mean, that just obviously slows you down. And then he's, you know, slimmed out because I think he started eating a little healthier. He cut out soda. I think he obviously still drinks a little bit, especially when he's like performing or doing music. But I mean, the guy's just got a lot healthier and he seems like he's doing amazing.
People thought because of his crazy dance moves that maybe he was on drugs, but he just likes dancing crazy.
Yeah. So the obviously the appearance of him slimming down, people are like, is this guy on drugs? And then, you know, some viral videos of him at a concert kind of dancing awkwardly were making a lot of people speculate a lot of crazy things. But I mean, he's came out a bunch since just being like, I don't do drugs. I don't do hard drugs. I got skinny, I'm in better shape, and I'm awkward when I dance. And It's just, I think we talked about this before, but I think there's just something about when someone's like a bigger guy and dancing weird, it's kind of more like, okay. Like, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But once a guy gets skinny and dances weird, it's like, oh, is this guy like a tweaker? Or like, what's going on here?
Why are you dancing so crazy?
Yeah, like what's wrong with this guy? Yeah.
Totally. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Deven. And I'm saying goodbye because we're going to have a new guest for our last segment.
You're kicking me off already?
I'm kicking you off because it's intern Ava's last day.
Okay.
Last day, our favorite, the best intern TMZ has ever had, potentially. So we're going to bring her up for the last segment.
I'm honored to let her replace me.
We'll boot you off, man.
All right,
we'll boot you off.
Talk to you.
Get going. Ava, it's your last day here.
It is.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Does that make you sad?
It does actually make me sad. You're a very good intern.
Thank you.
Are you going to try to work here again, or this is done now?
We have a few things in works.
We'll see.
Good. Yeah. You know, you might get some more time with me, Charlie.
I hope so. The podcast is going to miss you.
I'm going to miss the podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's sad. So, Ava, have you seen this viral video of the bear in the Chinese zoo?
I saw a few clips of it. It was interesting. A zoo in China has one of their sun bears just, you know, up on one of the rocks. And it looks like it's either asking for food or something. We don't know what the bear is doing, but it looks very abnormal because it looks like a human. So people are all over social media speculating that this bear is actually human.
I mean, people were speculating that it's like a man dressed as a bear at the zoo. That doesn't make sense to me, to pay some guy to dress as a bear. Just put a bear in there.
I mean, but people are freaky. I feel like somebody would do it voluntarily.
You
you know,
just,
like break
maybe,
into the zoo in a bear costume.
and try go viral.
Yeah.
I think it's because when he stands up, it's almost like the butt looks humanish, that it's almost like a wrinkled, the fur wrinkles at the back like a pants might do or a suit might do. So people are speculating that this might be a human. So we got Mike Holston at LAX yesterday, animal expert. He's got his own show. He's called the Real Tarzann. We asked him about this bear. Let's hear what he said.
What's your take on these Chinese bears?
Well, they say I seen it actually on a plane just now. Bears are like agile creatures, so if they stand up upright, it's not like abnormal. They're not humans in suits. I watched the video.
Okay,
and
this
I saw
is
how it sat
verified.
down.
So you agree with the Chinese zoo?
Yes,
you know,
it is a bear. It's not a human in a suit.
Does that convince you?
No.
It doesn't? You still think it's a human in there?
Just the way that the bear looked, I was like, that definitely looks abnormal. But like you said, why would a human be in the zoo dressed as a bear? So
I know that. I mean, why would you pay someone to do something that a bear can do? Like, the bear wants food. The bear wants food, so that they learn. It's like animals who learn, like, this is how I get food. Oh, if I stand up straight like this.
Exactly.
There's a video of the bear like waving to the crowd.
So you think it's a bear?
I think it's a bear that has learned like different things, tactics to get more food or attention from the people.
Yeah. Imagine like whole time it was like Black China cosplaying because the bear's named Angela. So
the bear's name's Angela White.
Yeah, not Angela White.
Just Angela.
Just Angela. You know.
That'd be funny if it just like it unzipped at the end of the show.
Yeah, you know she's doing new stuff, so who knows?
But this is the most famous bear in the world now. This is the best thing that could have happened to the zoo. Like now that there's a human bear there.
Yeah. You know, they got a lot of people coming by stopping to see this bear, so it's pretty famous. It's on TMZ now, too.
It's on TMZ. It's, your segment. Are you going to, now that we've talked about the bear, like, you've got free time on your hands, you're going to head to China, look at the human bear?
I'll think about it.
You think about it?
We'll see. Maybe. Those weren't in my plans, but
maybe
we can
now?
do some stuff around. Yeah.
What are your plans now that you're stopping being our intern?
I'm going home for a little bit, back to the East Coast.
Nice.
Yeah, Jersey girls.
Your Jersey? Oh, well, we hope to see you here back again soon, Ava.
I hope to be back soon.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you to the audience for joining us here today. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Thank you, Ava.